you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forge Line Forever. Today, I have a 5v5 custom match here on the most amazing Noxus map generator. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting off with Team 1 in the southwest, ending with Team 2 in the northeast. Starting off with Team 1's backline player in the rear guard slot, we have in Rust X-Raw going as a UEF. As a 1700, he is the highest rated player on Team 1. All the way to his east in lightest red pink is Rekather going as a Cybran as a 1500. And moving our way clockwise here, we have in Snow White another Cybran here for Team 1. It is Sanoman as a 1500. In Imperial Grey to his northwest is Spectre Slave 137 as a UEF as a 1600. And last but not least, here for Team 1 in the north, we have in Tropical Ocean Blue, Sock Full of Kids, going as a Cybran as a 1400. That name will always crack me up. Just a very interesting image. Anyway, for Team 1 side of the map, they have only Cybrans and UEF, that being 2 UEF and 3 Cybrans for Team 1. Starting out for Team 2's backline here in the regular slot in Batman Gray, it is Bannable Offense. He is going as a Seraphim, the one and only of the game, as a 2000 rated player, the highest rated player on Team 2 and in the game overall. All the way to his west in Ruby Red, we have the UEF player of Empire Day. He is an 1100. Wonder what Empire he is referring to. Hopefully he's referring to the establishment of the Galactic Empire. To his east, we have in Stitch Blue Furkota? He is the one and only Aeon of the game. He is a 1700. Probably going to call him F for short. To his southeast, we have in Amethyst Purple Cheerios. That sounds pretty good right now. He is a UEF as a 1500. Are they Honey Nut Cheerios or are they the regular Cheerios? I prefer the Honey Nut Cheerios, but the other Cheerios are fine. I just think the Honey Nut Cheerios are far superior. And last but not least, here in orange, the color orange to his south is Spanking. The names in this game, very interestingly, he is a Cybran as a 1200. So for Team 2 side of the map, they have one of each of the factions with the only Aeon and Seraphim in the game, but they also have 2 UEF and, of course, the Cybran of Spanking Giraffe. So again, Team 1 lacking Aeon and Seraphim technology, Team 2 lacking none of them. And for 10 players on the map, let's take a look how much reclaim they have to scoop up. Currently sitting at a 3,600. Not terrible. It's about 360 mass per player. Definitely not worth writing home about, but it is nice for maybe a couple of strikers or labs, kind of those very early Team 1 units. And for mass points on the map, let's take a look at Team 2 side of the map. There's a lot of one-offs in the main territory for Team 2, but there's also 4 quad mechs positions. So the rear guard air slot player kind of gets nothing out of that. And there's really nothing in the middle of the map as well. A couple of mechs and very kind of interesting depression. Not really depression. Makes the map look a little weird. Anyway, looks like it's fuzzy. Like the image isn't clear. That's kind of what I imagine that being in the middle of the map. Besides that, there's a couple of corners that have some mountains in it. Not really anything worth writing home about. And that's really about it for the map. A couple of holes as well, but that's not really going to impact that much land engagement. It's pretty much a flat, very open map. So again, no water. So for those that hate Navy, here's a map with no Navy. And for those that love Navy, like myself, hopefully the next video I'll find one that does have Navy. But let's go ahead and see where our players are off to in this game. It looks like everybody on the front line for Team 2 has left their main bases, making their way to the middle of the map. We also do have movement out of a couple of the players on Team 1 for the front line. Everybody except Spectre Slave has left the main bases. He's sending out a lot of labs, though, instead of his commander for now. Probably just going to be poking and prodding with those labs. There's actually a decent amount of those with a couple of those snoops, those little intel gathering units, so that he can get some nice little images on his side for himself and for his team to find those early engineers that are trying to, of course, expand out for his opponents. We do see that X-Raw has started to leave his main base. I don't see a movement icon on him. And it does look like Sanoman again has moved a little bit far forward. Not too much, though, just to get to that little manufacturing facility he's established for himself and is just pumping out units. I think the strategy, at least for Team 1, for some of them, is just send units out to the middle, because pretty much the middle of the map is going to be pretty much devoid of mass, back and forth, handing over mass points back and forth, except for maybe these parts on the, what's that, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock position and the 10 and 11 o'clock position. Pretty much that's really going to be essentially the back and forth for the beginning of the map of trying to who will establish which position in that. We do see most of those labs have been killed off. There are more and more tanks coming online that will deal with those weaker labs. But again, a decent amount of fire rate on board the labs does allow them to kill off a couple of units outbound from Empire Day. And we do see that there's a couple of bombers outbound from F to be able to assist with dealing with those annoying little labs. Gun speed and range has been started for Rekather in the south. I think that's the first upgrade of the game, being gun. That does make sense because he is on the front line. And Spanking Giraffe moving his way to the south. Again, I have to take a pause for a second because that name is just... Again, it's the whole, is the giraffe doing it or is somebody doing it to the giraffe? Either way, very weird. Anyways, we do see in the north Empire Day holding out over here. Not really pushing in to the middle of the map. Same position here for Sock Full of Kids. He's just holding out, working on getting his unit count up and running. We do see T2 coming online here for F in the north in the 12 o'clock position. And his mirror in the south, Sandman, has now pushed up to his Quad Mechs position and is again hanging out for the time being. Looks like stealth has been started and then canceled here for Rekather in the south. And we do see that Spanking Giraffe is moving his forces to intercept. Looks like he tried to have some sort of run by. There is possibility for that, being a nice little mountain here to try to obscure incoming units, but it can easily be intercepted going around the north. So not really great tactical maneuvers on this map due to the lack of geography, not geometry. Those are shapes. I mean, I guess in a 2D sense, these are all shapes, but in a 3D sense, it's more geography. Anyway, we do see that gun damage range has been started for Cheerios in the 3 o'clock position in the middle. And still the only player on Team 1 who has not left their main bases on the front line is going to be Spectre Slave. Looks like he's really just going for eco, going for a lot of Team 1 P-Gens, really trying to get his income up and running. He's almost about to beat Sock Full of Kids. Looks like he just did. And on Team 2 side of the map, looks like F and Bannable Offense are racing to see who has the most, or who can get at least to 100 mass per second first. Looks like it's a little bit of a tie, but of course Reclaim, if there's any power stalling, that sort of thing, kind of messes with those numbers. Speed and range has been started for Spanking Giraffe. Gun is almost done for Cheerios. No upgrades in the north. Well, we do see a T2 upgrade has been started for Sock Full of Kids. And, I mean, really, it's a lot of back and forth here. Not really a lot of territory gained one way or the other. We do see, again, Rekather is pushing forward with that gun upgrade. But the gun upgrade for Spanking Giraffe is going to be about to be finished. So I'm wondering if he's going to just send it forward. No, he is going to send it forward. He's not going to go for stealth. He's just going to full send it, send all of his forces. We do see some reinforcements from Cheerios moving into the north. He also has his gun upgrade finished. There's only one comm down here for Team 1. There's 2 of them on their way for Team 2. That'll have a nice little power imbalance in favor of Team 2. Looks like Spanking Giraffe and Rekather are just going to trade blows for the time being. Where Rekather's forces have been depleted. There's a lot of Mantis nearby, and they are completely surrounding that commander. And those hit points on board Rekather are just evaporating, dropping almost below 5,000. Looks like Spanking Giraffe still focused on going for the units for Rekather, so that way he can get the veterancy on board that commander. But he's going to go for the kill here. There it goes. First kill of the game here for Team 2. Spanking Giraffe did fall into 3,500 territory. Not terribly low. Pretty much almost into the red, but he's perfectly fine for the time being. Reinforcements trying to intercept that commander while he is weak. There's reinforcements outbound from Cheerios to help assist with that defense, as well as, of course, Spanking Giraffe just had more reinforcements coming in off the line all the time. And with that, Team 1's XRAR does inherit everything that Rekather owned. He's now the most mass-producing player in the game at 150, with 2 players on Team 2 at over 100. But in terms of totals, Team 2 is barely leading and it's, again, going back and forth. Looks like there was power stalling for a brief moment. But Team 1 is still in tit for tat, just back and forth, lockstep with their opponents. Looks like they are starting to peel away just a little bit. That'll probably be due to Extractor just having so much ego that he can just start upgrading all of those Team 1 mechs. And there's a lot of them on his side of the map, so you can get, you know, another 4 mats per second per mechs very, very quickly. We do see that Cheerios, again, just trying to force back Team 1's. Now reinforcing forces from Sanoman. He's going for stealth in the middle of the map here. And still, we do see that Spectre Slave has not left his main base, still working on getting even more factories online. And he's now going to fully ring his T2 mechs. Starting to do that process, trying to get his eco up and running. He's now over 100 mass per second. We do see in the north just more, you know, military industrial complex here for both these players, just building up units. Not really focusing on mass income that much, at least for Empire Day. We do see that Sockful Kids is almost about to break 100. And we do see that Nano Repair has started, which means stealth is done for Giraffe. And the stealth has now been started for Sanoman in the middle of the map here. We do see that Cheerios, again, continuing to now pump out now T2 units, both anti-air, those flak artilleries. Love to see them just to deny those T1 bombers a lot easier, and also to just cover his butt from any sort of T2 fighter bombers that may occur, either that being those lovely Janus or those Corsairs. I like the Janus because they throw fire and it's fun. And if you've seen my playthrough of the campaign where I only use air units, Janus make a very firm, not very firm, a very prominent, I lost the word for it, stage, like they're essentially front and center in the game because they rain fire from the heavens. We do see that again. Sanoman is moving into intercept. Did not go for the nano upgrade. Cheerios almost about to break for that 1-star veterancy. Not a lot of veterancy. We do see one on board of Spanking Giraffe. No real veterancy going down here for anybody else. So then no upgraded hit points on board. So it's just players are more focused on using their units rather than using their commander. We do see that Sanoman just broke his 1-star veterancy goal. So good for him. Nice little sub goal. Or at least in terms of sub, it's more of, you know, killing subs, I guess, at this point. But, you know, anyway. We do see that those Riptides are online trying to assist Cheerios' defense of his commander. He is going to start dropping into the yellow here. He will get to veteran, so see those. So 10% more hit points on board, especially with him throwing overcharge in and out as he does. I don't think Cheerios can see his opponent. Oh, no, he can see it. He is in visual range. And Sanoman is going to start dropping hit points now with those T2 units moving into range. Here shortly, lots of Team 1 units online here for Spanking Giraffe. We do see a lot of T2 PD that have been built for Exrar, who is now under control of Rekathar's forces. He has T3 air online. I think at this point I can slow it down back to 0 because the early game, of course, is a little slow just because they're expanding out mechs and units and all that stuff. We do see that there are T3 units making their way on the battlefield here for Exrar. He is deploying those loyalists. And Sanoman trying to hold the breach against these Riptides. We might have this second departure here of the game, especially with Cheerios and all of those forces inbound from Giraffe. There goes Sanoman dropping below 1,000. He does get a veterancy, but he's gone anyways. Team 1 suffers the second blow of the game. 2 players, and it is now a 3v5 in favor of Team 2, and that is all before 15 minutes. We do see that Spectre Slave has left his main base, and he might need to start pushing a little bit further because this is a huge comm advantage here with nobody on the front line will allow Team 2 to severely pressure this southern side. On the north, Team 2 is holding. We do see that 2 commanders still holding position, that being F and Empire. Empire now is at T2 Engineering Suite, and Sockful of Kids just building more. I think those were, mass storages just to expand his ego ever so slightly. Forces inbound from Empire have broken through the wall sections and are now getting into these Mantis that were on patrol or hanging out, whatever the heck they were doing. It looks like there is an engineer reclaiming the wall section. Somehow one of F's engineers got all the way through and is now just reclaiming, allowing forces to go through that alleyway a little bit better. But this is a nice inbound attack here. Outbound from Empire. It's going to distract inbound forces from Sockful of Kids, allowing Team 2 to get a little bit more breathing room once these forces are dealt with. But these forces are inbound. There's a decent amount of rhinos. I don't think it's enough to kill the comm, especially with some T2 mongoose and some flapjacks inbound. Those rhinos possibly going to focus the radar system. That'd be great to take out blinding Team 2 or going after the mechs. They are Team 1s, but they're, again, 8 mass a second is 8 mass a second times how many seconds they're offline, so it makes a difference. We do see that still Team 2's mainline commander of Spanking Giraffe continuing to pressure the southern side. He's assisted / killed 2 players in this game. And so there's a lot of momentum going his way. Unfortunately for him, there are a lot of loyalists inbound. And I think he pushed a little bit too far forward. Of course, the EMP weapons don't work against the comms, but still, damage is damage. And there he goes. Most of those loyalists do survive. They take a lot of hit points off of them, but they are nonetheless surviving that initial blast, and is now a 4v3, still in favor of Team 2, but Team 1 has finally scored a kill in this game at 16, almost 17 minutes on the clock. Of course, T3 Air has been online for both of our rearguard airsoft players for a while. Expansionary efforts from both of those players to the air grid has been mainly focusing here for bannable offense. Of course, XR is trying to do land and do air, so his APM's not as refined, not as precise, and not reduced, what's the word, focused as that of bannable offense. But it looks like he does have a little bit more ASFs just due to the fact that he does sit on more mass per second, sitting at 25 ASFs here for Team 1's XR, and for Team 2's bannable offense sitting at 25, so a lockstep with one another. But I do think with that amount of mass here for Team 1's XR, it will put him in a huge advantage. All he needs to do is just build more facilities, which he's doing, to, of course, be able to spend that mass a little bit better, because he is still positive. He's stockpiling not a decent amount of mass, but he is spending what he has, so he's not letting it sit in his bar. We do see that bannable offense has a little bit more mass in his bar, but he is still spending it. He's still positive, which is fine. But looks like he's still trying to expand out, trying to spend that mass as fast as he can, because, of course, more mass spent is more units made, more damage equals better advantage equals all the everything. Essentially that, 1, 2, 3, A equals B equals C equals D kind of thing. Kind of got away from me there. But anyways, we do see that there are some bricks online here now for XR, the mainline unit of the Cyberns. We do see in the west, T3 still not online here for Sock Full of Kids. T3 not online as of yet for Empire, but he is going for T3. Lots of mongoose. Not really any much else here. We do see a couple of mixing of units. Some pair shields focusing on protecting these pillars with a couple of missile launchers until a couple being one. There are a decent amount of tickle cannons here. The shields are offline, but they come back online at the last second before those forces split maneuver into the main base for Sock Full of Kids. He's going to try to get some Team 1 PD. I mean, at this point, he could probably just overcharge a couple of these units, get some veterancy, and stave off the incoming attack. But the tickle cannons are focusing down all of the pillars first. That's definitely the move. That's the more damaging unit. The missile launcher isn't really worth targeting. It's a little, it's a lot weaker than the pillars, of course. But this will be a decent amount of mass here for him to scoop up. He'll be able to restart that shield emitter generator, whatever you want to call it, here very quickly. Of course, the Cybern T2 shield builds very quickly because it is very cheap. It's not great, but it's cheap, so it works in a pinch. And at almost 20 minutes on the clock, let's take a look at the game overall. Team 2 sitting at 950 mass per second. We'll do it. Team 1 will round it off to 850, so it's easier in my head for math. That is 100 mass more per second here for Team 2. And that's mainly due to the fact that F is sitting on a ton of mass. Is that... No, yeah, that is, that's not even reclaim. That's, yeah, that's his total income. That's a lot of mass. He's pumping on a lot of T3 Harbingers at the moment. And again, Team 1 sitting at 3 players left, with Sanoman and Rekethur being killed off first and second, and then Spanking Giraffe being the third eliminated from the game, with Team 2 sitting at 4 players left. Let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win this game. And of course, if you haven't done so already, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so very much for watching to this point in the video. And I encourage each and every one of you to continue to watch till the end. And invite your pets to sit there, hang out, get some popcorns, chips, soda, coffee, whatever you drink, depending on what time of the day it is. Oh, I don't know. I drink caffeine late at night too, so I don't know. Caffeine doesn't really affect me unless I drink I have to drink a lot of it. Like, when I say a lot, I mean like 400 milligrams a lot before it starts to affect me. And that's at one time. If I drink 400 milligrams throughout the day, it's not too bad. But it's still a lot, but it's not like a boom, hit me in the face kind of thing. Anyway, a little side conversation about caffeine. We do see that those Harbingers have done a decent amount of damage to Recruiter's Eco, taking out 4 T2 Mechs. They are fully ringed, so that was 36 mass a second, and that's going to take a little bit to recoup that because he has to now send an engineer out, rebuild those. Those were Harbingers as well, which means they could have been scooping that mass, but they decided to just go on that hunting mission and try to make it back to base. There are a little bit more breaking of the front lines here for Team 2 due to the fact there's a lot of T3 units inbound from Team 1. There's even more and more Loyalists. There are now Pillars on the front line. Best T3 unit, land unit, I should say, in the game. Hands down. Cannot change my mind. Don't care. Well, I care, but in my opinion, I mean, against... Essentially, they're not really effective against weaker units. Large groups of weaker units like Mantis or, Labs or whatever the case may be. Because they're mainly designed for a single target. But for the most part, they are the best T3 unit, of course, in my opinion, in the game. And I do care about your opinion, so don't think that I don't care. I just still think it's the best T3 unit in the game. We do a land unit. We do see in the north, Empire Day going for his T3 upgrade, trying to, again, hold his position, which he's been doing very well at. Team 1 has not had any sort of momentum in this direction. Team 2 breaking through the wall section still. They are now deliberately destroying every single one of them because why not? Maybe they want to open the door for maybe a nice little fat boy to move in. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of for making it that wide because fat boys, they are pretty wide because they're fat. So, I mean, it's kind of in the name. So there is that. We do see a couple of Percys moving forward, though. Here, outbound from Spectre Slave, they are being forced back by a couple of Team 1 bombers at that, and a couple of Pillars. I don't see why, but I guess he just wants to hold back, group them up a little bit. There is some flak inbound. I guess that's what they're waiting for to deal with those bombers. There are more bombers inbound from Empire Day, and I do love the fact that frontline players like Empire do have their own air facilities, so that way they can just pump out something. I mean, this is enough to just barely hold off your opponent, waiting for incoming reinforcements, which they are inbound quite severely by Team Jews F, dropping them off, cutting down that travel time quite significantly. You can see this, right there to right there is, a couple of seconds. Obviously, air is important. We do see some interceptors kind of acting as a little bit of interference for Team 2. Those bricks now adding a little bit more firepower here to this engagement outbound from Sock Full of Kids. Of course, those Percys trying to just really rip through those shields on board those Harbingers, but they are doing a great job. There's a couple of Redeemers in there acting as some cannon fodder, more and more Percys, more and more bricks on the front lines here, inbound from these two players in the west. And Empire Day has fallen back a little bit, but he's now going for Ravagers, the longest range not T3, but actually it's the only T3 PD, so it has the longest range of any PD in the game, of course, because it's the only T3. So, because the UEF are tanky and tanky in terms of fire basing, so why not have the longest range PD in the game? Because why not? There it goes, outputting all of those rounds per second. Again, the only downside with Ravagers is that moving units, it's hard for them to track, so slower moving units like Experimentals are the best thing to use in those cases of fighting off those incoming waves of Experimentals. There's now a little bit of shifting in momentum here for Team 2 in the southern side. Now we see that Cheerios pushing back against not really that many bricks here in the south. And we just see a line of engineers from Recruiter. Looks like it's just on a reclaim operation. He has built a monkey, 25 minutes. And there is a fat point under construction here for Spectre Slave in the west. We do see that there's really nothing here for Empire Day. He's lost his main frontline base. He does have his secondary production facilities and his main base, of course, at T3. But he's lost, again, he's lost 4 T3 Mechs, T2 Mechs, excuse me. Thought they were T3, but they were not there yet. And they were fully ringed, so that's, again, 36 mass a second over the course of, 60 seconds. makes a difference. I used to know what that 6 cubed was. I think it's the 216. Yeah, it's 216. So over 60 seconds, that's 216 mass a second. Wait, no, that's 60 seconds. That would be 6 seconds. So that would be 2,160 mass over that 60 seconds. Anyway, trying to do math in my head and cast, not the best idea. At least for my brain. I don't see any other forward momentum going here for Team 1 besides this little push that's going to stop pretty shortly as more and more reinforcements are just thrown to deal with these incoming waves of units from Team 1. Team 2's air players still just pumping out all of those ASFs. He was, last time we checked it was 25. Now it's 125. Actually 127. 28. But, who's counting? We do see that as the wrong player to check. And RAR is sitting at 104. But he does have a decent amount of spy planes that don't have any offensive capabilities and a couple of stingers. That's really about it. So Team 2 is slightly in the lead for air. Neither team has air control by any means. Or, of course, dominance or supremacy for that matter. We do see that the monkey is inbound from the west. Now is going to start collapsing on top of these bricks. There's a couple of Perseus mixed in. Best unit, of course, to deal with monkeys because they don't have as many hit points as all the other experimentals. Except Fat Boys. I think Fat Boys have half that? Oh, they have way less than that. They have almost a quarter than that. Actually, they do have... They have a little over a quarter of the HP that the monkey does. But now the monkey in range, going after all of those Perseus. There's bricks in there as well. Of course, takes a couple shots from a Percy and goes, nah, I'm good. Not going to deal with that. Blue has so much eco, says sock full of kits. They can't see his numbers, but that, yeah, 687. To be fair, RAR is sitting at 670 himself as well. And to be fair, for both teams collectively, they are both sitting at 1.6k mass per second. So there isn't a lead by any means. Of course, that's partly due to the fact that one player on Team 1 has dual base and another player on Team 1 also has dual base. Yes, because that was his... No. RAR is on triple base, excuse me. So Spectre Slave on one base, almost competing with RAR's triple base. And he's really focusing on eco. Of course, his mirror of Cheerio's actually doing a decent job as well. But of course, Bannable Offense and F are the two main eco players for Team 2. We do see, again, more T3 artillery, more T3 broadswords coming online. And now the Galactic Colossus is online, moving in range to those Perseus and some Cougars. Those Cougars need to fall back. They're going to get lasered to death, or in this case, grabbed and then slowly crushed by those vacuum arms that are those nasty, nasty things outbound from those Aeon engineers. We do see that there is now SMDs popping up here for F and more SMDs in the back. Love to see the dual layered SMD, redundancy here for Team 2. Just in case the frontline SMD comes offline, there's a backup one just in case. You would hate it if you only had one SMD. Nuke is inbound. The SMD is taken out the last second, and then there goes everything. But you see more and more of these either walking down the central line or just being transported in. I'm assuming walking because I don't see any transports anywhere. Outbound from F. He's doing a very good job at poking and prodding at Team 1's eco. We've seen this position taken out. This position is now taken out. That's the 3 T3 fully ringed mexes. That's, of course, 9, 18, 27 mass per second. Makes a difference. Why does that say 8.3? Huh. That's weird. Yeah, what is it? Is there like a new update I don't know about? Because I've never seen 0.3 mass on anything before. Is there anything like that? No, because that's even numbers or whole numbers. Weird. Anyway, let me know down in the comments what that's about, because I don't know. Because it's not upgrading, because it's paused. So it's just really weird. Anyway. In the north, T3 broadswords trying to, again, encourage the hordes of ASF that are now inbound, going after said gunships, to come over here to the north, and they're escorting a Monkey Lord, assisted by some ground forces as well. The Colossus are now moving in. There's 3 of them now. Team 2's F is just pumping out those Colossi as fast as he can. I don't know if he's building them anymore, but he was. Oh, no, there's one right there. I guess he's building more and more as the day goes on. We do see that those ASF have moved in position, but the broadswords have either been taken out. It looks like they did fall back. Just really trying to have a nice air fight. Build Sam, says X-Rar. Yeah, he's starting to notice that Team 2 has a bigger grouping of ASFs than he does, so he's trying to prepare not only himself but his team for an incoming. What happened there? Looks like a missile or something. Oh, it's a Redeemer. Okay, I was like, what shot that down? But transport with some engineers is inbound to the north. Does the Redeemer catch it? Yes, it does. Oh, the engineers, there they go. Oh, they were just trying to feed their families. That's definitely unfortunate. There's just a Redeemer causing nonsense on Team 1 side of the map. And then that's just one unit just hanging out. Another transport takes out another grouping of this is T3 engineers. That's got to hurt. Transport's trying to cut down the travel time, but I love this. Just one Redeemer isn't necessarily shutting down all of the transports, but it's definitely making it annoying. All it's going to take is any unit to be in range, and there goes that FAF. We're going to pepper it to death, and there it goes. 31 minutes on the clock. Is Team 2 building any sort of big ticket items in the rear? Of course, we'd expect it of the giant rearguard air slot of the bannable offense. Nothing else here for F, just pumping out more and more. I see. Okay, so I will note this is the Seraphim one, so that's not necessarily his fault, F, for putting it next to that, but probably should move that, because that's going to explode, and that's not going to be a good day for that Paragon by any means, so might want to move that. It looks like it is going to take a minute to get there, so Battlefield Offense should just move that one. Even if he just wanted to cancel like half of that, it would be fine. And that Paragon has now officially been started. The appearance of one of the 4 has... Well, one of the 4 has made their appearance, I should say. That phrased that sentence very, very roughly. It looks like an air fight does occur over the base of X-Bar. It looks like Team 2 just wanted to shut out Team 1's air forces, but decent amount of SAMs were built. So even if the air fight did go their way, it's essentially just a draw at this point. And still getting a decent engagement here. Still killing off more and more ASFs. ASFs do turn around. And essentially we'll just make it null and void. There are more ground units inbound, though, from Cheerios. There are more ASF, of course, still in tow. Team 2 did make out a little bit better than Team 1 did, but not by much. And that's mainly due to the fact of just all the SAMs that have started to be built by both Spectre Slave and Spectre Slave and X-Rar. As I click on the wrong player, you see there's more around the main base, but there's starting to branch out. We do see again splitting the attack and the focus here for Team 1's X-Rar. He needs more frontline protection, from Spectre Slave. He's sending his FAF point north. I feel like he should be sending it south, but there are a group, and that's, putting it mildly, a decent grouping of broadswords inbound. I don't see a lot of T3AA in the mix here for Cheerios, so those forces are going to get ripped very, very quickly. Mainly just shields and Percys. There are some ASFs inbound. Well, no, those are spy planes. Those are ASFs sitting here for Team 1, and those broadswords are just going to, I don't know if they're going to do just a flyby, or it looks like they are going to stay at another quad mech position offline here for Team 1. There are 2 crabs and a monkey hanging out in the south, pushing up against the eastern side of no experimentals here for Team 2. They are building a crab that's almost going to be done, but it's still going to be a 2-to-1 advantage, 2.5 advantage for Team 1 versus Team 2. Yeah, Monkey Lord counts as half. And that's if it can get in range of its main cannon. If it can't, then it's like 2.1. But we do see, that's just due to hit points and all that stuff. We do see a second FAF point now here for Team 1, Spectre Slave and a monkey hanging out. And now a crab has been built. Is this going to be sent forward? How's that Paragon going? It is still in the red, but it's making its way there. It's almost at 20%. 20% isn't that bad for the time it's been so far. Looks like he has moved his mass FAF form. Definitely a good idea here for Team 2's Rigor player Battle Offense to do that. The only issue with this I see, of course, is just the easy cascade that can occur. He needs to get some shields around this. Easy target for some T3 or even T2 bombers to move in, or fighter bombers to move in and take that out. And the attack in the east has started to commence. The monkey is pretty far forward, out of range of both of these crabs, so it's going to die very quickly, especially with it being at the hit point count that it is, about half. And we do see, of course, those colossi running around the map as well. That's a lot of harbingers. That is a lot of them. Well, there's more up there. Looks like he's splitting his forces. He's at 74. That's a lot of firepower there for him. And a lot of shields. That's 74,000 hit points and shields. Yep, 74,000. There are transports with engineers going to reclaim. Looks like there's more harbingers hanging out to the north of Rex. The transports will get shot down by those ASFs, but the engineers did achieve their mission. And I mean, they could just reclaim all this with the harbingers. It's not really a big issue for them. In the east, engineers being dropped off by Bannable Fence, going for some T1 land spam. And I love this. He set up 4 land factories and then just distributed those orders. So they build very, very quickly here. I mean, you could essentially have the same speed roughly as just building them all together. But, you know, it's nice to have 4 build almost simultaneously. Love to see that. A nice little, not symmetry, but nice little all online, whatever you want to call that. And the AA being focused down by the broadswords, but the ASFs are inbound. The gunships pull back. Are they going to pull back enough? The ASFs for Team 2 almost getting into range. They don't want to initiate the fight, especially with all these SAMs being built by Spectres. Like, he really wants to goad Team 2 into another air fight, especially on their side of the map. And of course, all of those wrecks landing on Team 1's side of the map just means more and more mass in terms of reclaim for them. Team 1 sitting at 150,000, Team 2 174. A little bit in favor of Team 2. Team 2 sitting at a little bit over 200,000 more mass accumulated, which is almost a Paragon. Almost. Yeah, it's almost a Paragon. And that Paragon, speaking of which, is in the yellow, but it's still progressing. 36 minutes on the clock now. It looks like with the main bulk of the forces for F in the middle, close to the southern middle of the map, looks like Sock Full of Kids seizes the opportunity and pushes in with a monkey and a crab. There are 2 colossi to the north. Looks like Empire Day trying to keep this position under his control. He's re-grabbed it. He has T3 Mechs is now online. Crab in the yellow, almost in the green here for Sock Full of Kids to the north. And it looks like those units are going to engage. Looks like the monkey just doesn't care at this point. The crab now in range of the Colossus. The Colossus looks like they're going to move into range of the crab. And that Colossus is going to rip through that monkey bank tissue paper. And there go all these forces back here. Most of them are bricks. There's a couple of bounces in the mix, as well as a decent amount of bangers, some flat cannons. But that crab will get a kill. Will not get veterancy. Almost does. And I don't think it's going to be enough. All of the firepower focusing on that Colossus, but it doesn't really matter because it's on Team 2 side of the map. The Ravagers barely not in range to the north, and that crab does go down. It will give that Colossus almost not veterancy for T2, for, sorry, 2-star veterancy. I almost want to say T2 for some reason. My units, wait, legit don't listen. Yeah, I hate when that happens. They go west instead of east because of pathfinding and all that nonsense. But a decent amount of not-the-fighter bombers, possibly a snipe opportunity at 58. That's a lot. That's a lot of bombers. Fighter bombers, excuse me, because they are fighters and they are bombers, but they're just mainly T2 fighter bombers, primarily used for bombers, but they do have, you know, anti-fighter capabilities, just not as good as ASFs. We have gunships moving in. They're like, we want the kill on that Colossus. We want that kill on our chassis. And it does look like a lot of the AA is just null and void here. There's a couple of SAM sites here for Empire Day, but looks like they're going to go for a snipe. They don't even care. Is the AA coverage going to be enough? No, they don't even go for the snipe. They're going for the FAF boy that he was building. They don't go for the kill, surprisingly. They could have. But of course, that's partly due to the fact that they probably don't want to give the eco of Empire Day to somebody else on Team 2. Is partly what it is. All those gunships are dead. Santaman says the pair is at 60%, and that is correct. It is at 60%. A little bit over that exactly, or to be exact, it looks like more P-gens are needed for the power consumption that is the Fat Boy. Not Fat Boy, sorry, the Paragon construction, and 3 Fat Boys, speaking of which, pushing into the middle. Looks like a Colossus did die at some point. That's from Team 2, because there are no Aeons on Team 1. And in the south, Fat Boy fighting against 3 crabs. Actually, no, those aren't even Fat Boys. Those are just missiles raining in on said crabs. There's 4 crabs and a monkey. I think it's that same monkey from ages ago. All those missiles firing at once. Looks like a Mavor has been started. So it's a race to see who will build an experimental either T4 unit first, whether that is the, or structure I should say, whether that is the big artillery unit, the overcompensating artillery unit of the UEF, or the infinite resource money glitch of the Aeon. We do see Notha fighter bombers are inbound, and they are going for those Fat Boys. They're going to get at least one of them, I would surmise, with the amount that are inbound. ASF's trying to intercept before those bombers have the chance to drop their payloads, and the shields are barely online for this Fat Boy. The shields have fallen. It is enough. Those Fat Boys are safe. Another Colossus did die in this engagement, so that's another 15,000 mass for Team 1. And are we seeing any assistance? No assistance from anybody on Team 1 for the construction of the Mavor, and still no assistance for the Paragon. The Paragon is in the green, though. The only downside of the Paragon, downside, air quotes, of the Paragon is that it doesn't provide its initial benefit. Essentially, if you want, like, oh, let's build just 30 Salvations, you can do that, but you then have to wait for the Salvation to be built. On the other hand, when you have the Mavor, you can use its fire almost instantaneously. It just needs to, extend its barrel and then align it and then fire it. So it has a little bit of a delay. But you get more immediate feedback from the Mavor than you do from the Paragon. And unfortunately for Team 2, that enough shielding is not going to be enough. It's never enough. Never enough. 2 shields is not going to be enough. Even if it's a Seraphim shield, doesn't matter. It's not going to be enough. Now the fighter bombers looks like they're trying to bomb the daylights out of that megalith, but he's just kind of sitting there shrugging off some of those shots from the sky. More spy planes are inbound to get a nice readout on what Team 2's up to. And I do, again, like the grouping. It's like getting as far into Team 2's territory as you can, because, of course, the layered AA defense is pretty strong here. A couple of flak, but mainly T3. And we do see that battlefield offenses and F's commander has been spotted, or have been spotted, I should say. And they still only know about the Paragon being at some percentage. And they say 90%, and that's almost true. It's technically at 80-something percent, 88 or 7 or whatever the percentage is. How's the Mavor doing? The Mavor is in the green, so it's catching up to that Paragon. And it's going to be a race against time at this point here between these 2 players. Empire is still holding position, trying to build another Paragon, but just being bombarded constantly by Team 1's primarily sock full of kids, but there is a couple missiles outbound from the Spectre Slay's forces. Teleport has been started by sock full of kids. Does he have the laser? He does not. Team 2 does not have their Siren commander. That was Giraffe. He is dead. Team 1 does only have 1 Siren remaining. That is sock full of kids, so there's 1 telesnipe opportunity, or telemaser opportunity, I should say. Crab is almost dead. This crab almost dead. Gonna get just completely destroyed by those T3 spearheads just pumping out. There goes the other one. I think the crash damage actually killed that one. I mean, it's gonna wipe out most of these units, but there's another crab inbound from Team 2, so it's gonna be just in favor of Team 2, but most of those units are dead anyway, so kind of it's a net positive, but barely for Team 2. Is that Paragon online? Yes, it is. Is the Mavor online? Oh, can you scroll down a little bit? Yes, it is. Almost in lockstep with one another. Of course, there is a nuke that has been loading, and is loaded, I should say. Currently, I'm going to split it at this moment because we're having 2, essentially, T4 units or slash game enders online is definitely worrisome, especially watching for the Mavor. We won't see the initial damage from the Paragon, of course, because there could be Salvations building, or it looks like he's going. Oh, no, he did switch over to Salvations. And that Mavor is firing, and of course, there's only one thing that I can realistically target, or should target at this point. Wouldn't target the air grid. It's not really worth it. You get a nice cascade, though. The shields are being built, and that shield is impacted. Of course, we'll just keep it on the Paragon on the right side of the screen, and the west side of the screen. The shield is down. The additional shielding from the Salvation from the Seraphim shielding is helping, but some of those engineers are dying. And the build power is slowly being depleted. Crab in the south. This crab will die, and the broadswords will come in and save it. At least the crab from Team 1's perspective. Oh, lands on top of that salvation that was being built. That's got to hurt. More and more shields is the main focus here for F. He really just wants to pump out as many shields as he can to protect that Paragon. Shielding isn't bad. All the shielding is decent. Obviously, there's more hit points for some. The range is better for some. That sort of thing. The Seraphim shield's really the only thing keeping this Paragon alive. The Aeons just keep coming off and on and offline. Ooh, lands on top of that stealth field generator. So it's not really useful at this point because Team 1 knows where it is. And are they building anything else? They have a lot of build power around Raw's commander. He does only have the shield on board, but that's still 19,000 additional hit points. And that nuke, there are 2 of them now. They've multiplied like rabbits. Shields being built, being destroyed, being built, being destroyed here for Team 2. Paragon is under threat, of course, of a nuke. And well, this one is loaded, and this one is also loaded. So Team 1 not going to punch through with a nuke. And the shielding is starting to hold here for Team 2. Not a lot of build power, though, so that is something that Team 2 will have to watch out for. Is once all the build power is gone, there goes the things making shield. Give me some of your eco if you're not maxing out. Para says bannable offense. We do see explosions in the south. Looks like that was a... There's definitely not a billion nuke. There's definitely a nuke. But there was... I guess that's the Mavor shot we saw, not the nuke. Oh, the shield's still online. Mass assisting that. That's the only thing that bannable offense is doing. He does have an Awasaw bomber online, though, and he has a lot of ASFs. We should see a gunning run in. The shields are down around that Paragon. One nice shot. It's all over for it. There it goes. And this one deserves a kaboom. And we did have a nice little cascading effect for those math fabricators. And 44 minutes on the clock. The Mavor wins out the engagement in the... Yeah, just the line of artillery, because why not at this point? Move that back over. And now it's shifted over to the massive air grid that we see. At least that would be the next target. Looks like it's actually going after the Salvation. That's almost built, to be fair. Looks like that's actually the attack order that we see, not the other way around. Yep, that's the attack order. If Raw does see that, it will go down. He does see that the Salvation has been completed. Looks like he is targeting the air grid. Shots are landing. There goes a couple of PGens in air facilities, but some of the shields do save some of the damage. Another shot inbound. Take out another section of that air grid. Salvation will start ripping through those shields, though, so Team 1's Raw has to be very careful and pay attention to. Looks like he's building more shields as we speak. Not necessarily covering that Mavor, but is trying to at least protect it at least a little bit. Getting another section of those PGens offline, so bannable offense is just losing power. Of course, he did lose some mass fab, so it's kind of evening out for him. And it looks like the Mavor has switched targets to that Salvation. And that second Salvation is under construction. Third one is primed, but lands right next to that Salvation. Takes out the shielding, and there goes that Salvation. That's gotta hurt. So Team 2's gains from that Paragon have been wiped out. The massive amount of T2 mass fabs, 246 mass per second from those mass fabs. A lot of mass just from mass fabs, and they're nowhere near one another, which means no cascading effect. Great planning here by F. He's done a great job of really just being the eco front runner here for his team. We see that in terms of mass per second. He has fallen a little bit, of course, due to everything that's happened to him. And Bannable Offense is now ahead in that at 850. With now Cheerios coming up at almost 800. Well, he's losing. Looks that's probably power related. Oh, yeah, that's power related. In the south, charging forward with a crab, gets bodied by some fat boys that are like, no, you're not going that way. And with the Mavor in tow, the only thing that Team 2 can do at this point is take out the Mavor, because the longer that thing stays down, the worse it gets. More mass fabs in the east here. It's very explodable. Look at that. Another 17.9 bottom left-hand corner. What is up with this, decimal point? 19.4. Did they change this recently? Because I feel like it used to be just an even... Oh. Sorry, a whole number. Oh, that's a YOLO. Oh, that's not going to be fun for Team 1 if they don't notice that. Do they notice that? Oh, yeah. Telling if it gets up. So, probably either Spectre Slave or Ra made that comment to his team saying that's definitely worth sacrificing a player for. And in the south, looks like there's a Billy Nuke. Oh, it had the nuke symbol. It is a Billy Nuke outbound from Empire Day. Still trying to hold off this advance here from Team 1, but a lot of the momentum, especially on this western side. Oh, yeah, that's, is it inbound for him? Is it ooh, are they going to go after the commander with that, oh, yeah, they are. Oh, that's a dead commander if I've ever seen one. Bye, Empire Day. I love the Billy Nuke, but it's not going to be enough to save you. There he goes. Kaboom. He is dead. It's another player dead here for Team 2. We've had a long breath between Draft dying and Empire Day dying. It's been about, let's say, 30 minutes probably. And that is now a 3v3 tied up game here. I forgot about Calm, the Spectre Slave. Oh, it's not Spectre Slave, sorry. Stock full of kids. Another explosion somewhere? Oh, Calm's over here. And he's, oh, and he's gone. Where'd he go? Oh, he's over here. Looks like he just hung out over there and some bombers were just slowly eating away at his hit points. Not the best idea. Lots of spearheads trying to hit some T1 and T2 engineers. Those are ripped apart. And essentially it's now, if Team 2 can keep the... Oh, the yellow's gone. So the neighbor took it out while I was not paying attention. Another RASCOM or SACU going up in smithereens. There is a satellite online in an F control case. He sees the writing on the wall. He's spamming out SM. Why is he spamming out SMDs? Is Team 1 building a YOLO that I don't know about? Oh, but they don't have YOLOs, so what am I talking about? He just wanted to build SMDs, then call it. He's like, it's not worth it. They really just need more and more shielding. You can, hold off on our Mavor shot indefinitely if you have enough shielding and assistance. But there's not a lot of assistance going down or shielding for that matter, so you need, again, a nice combination of both. There's a lot of engineers, though. They're going to build another Paragon because why not? They're just waiting for an Aeon engineer to get there. I don't know if it's going to get there or not. Looks like all of the engineers are immediately sent backwards to go for that. But again, 48 minutes on the clock. Team 1 has a Mavor and has not finished one of the disruptors and has a couple of nukes loaded. It's not looking good if you're rooting for Team 2. Those ASFs starting to again poke and prod at those defenses. There are gunships and bombers waiting to be given the order to move in. And they are given the order to go after something. The bomber has been given orders. Is he just going to bomb the gunships? Oh, this is interesting. The bomber does die. He lands it down there, kills off a section of those gunships. And the air fight does commence. Looks like he took out a decent amount of the gunship. Let's say the bombers. Bombers are going after bannable offense. The shields will hold. The gunships are making their way over there. Will it be enough? It doesn't look like it will be. Some of them will reach. There's a decent amount of assistance, and the shields do go down. And some of the shielding is taken offline by a broadsword or two. But there's the nice headshot from the Mavor. Kills off the Calm of bannable offense, leaving Cheerios the last man standing for Team 2, sitting next to a couple of course, the most amazing Novaxes. And that's essentially the game here. I'm going to speed it up to +2. Because essentially just it's cleansing the western side here. Team 2 had a decent thing going here in the south. They started to push back Team 1 with those satellites and the FAF boys. The FAF boys, again, just moving back and forth just to stay out of range of most of the everything else from Team 2. Now the nuke is outbound. Artillery has been built, gifted over to Ross so he can coordinate that artillery spread and shots. Oh, that's going straight for Cheerios. Commander loses one of the Novaxes, loses the other one right next to that explosion, though, from that. Missed by the Mavor again. 50 minutes. Is he just going to sit there and try to build it? He takes a hit. 2,000 hit points remaining. He goes, I got to move. That's not good. Okay, let's see if he gets out of range. ASF coming to try to shield him. which they will do a decent job of that, of course. Lots of ASFs killed off in that explosion. Decent grouping as well from that one. And wonder if it's
strategic launch detected.
Directly trying to target the commander at this point. Team 1 should see him. Oh, yeah, they see him. They know where he is. Printing GCs, the socks full of kids. What's up, Bomber? Doing stuff over there. And there goes it for Team 1's last opponent of Cheerios. I don't know if that was a shot. Looks like it was, given the smoke trail on that. You can see it right there at the top. So it was a shot from XRAR's Mavor that won the day here for Team 1. I feel like in general that was the winning play, was the Mavor getting online and killing off the Paragon. At that point it was just, okay, take out the air grid, take out the YOLO that's being built, and that was really about it. I feel like Team 2 had probably an opportunity to go after the Mavor. I know it would have cost them a lot. There's a lot of AA that was built, T2 and T3. They had, of course, the Albasaw bomber as well as a bunch of ASFs to try to shield it. They didn't have much of anything else, though, so this amount of shielding, even if you cut out, let's say, the Cybern, this line, and this line, it would have been enough to probably shield at least one. Looks like one shield was taken offline at one point. But it would have been enough to shield to at least buffer one attack. I don't know if it would have buffered two, but at least one. And then the amount of AA that would have been there would have ripped apart the rest of the HP on board that bomber. But that could have been an attempt. But I think Team 2 was just trying to win it on land down here, and it really didn't go anywhere. Air didn't really make a difference. There was that one air fight that I caught the end of it over the base of Raw, but like I said, it was essentially just a null and void attack, just leaving mass on Team 1's essentially in their house. You know, I say like on the front yard, on the doorstep, in the house, essentially. It's like literally in the middle of their base. I don't know if that was worth it at the time. Maybe he thought it was worth it, but there was just too much AA built by that time. But yeah, I think I got to give it to Raw for going for that artillery piece. Let me know down in the comments if you agree or not. Of course, if you haven't done so already, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so very much for watching to the end of the video. And share this video with anyone, everyone, and especially your pets, if I can speak correctly. And I will see all of you in the next one.